Good morning, good day, and good evening. Welcome to Smugglers MMA. This is our official breakdown and prediction for the unprecedented UFC Freedom 250 card, the first of its kind UFC on the White House on a Sunday. It's Flag Day and Donald Trump's birthday. That's probably why they're doing it on a Sunday. But before we get into our breakdowns, we need to address the elephant in the room, which is the fact that this has never happened before, which leads us to the freedom factor. This is a factor that will only be apparent on this card and this card only. If you look at the history of the United States of America, there is a perpetual underdog narrative. The Revolutionary War, a bunch of colonies fought against the biggest empire in world history at that point in time, maybe excluding the Romans, and they won. Miracle on Ice, 1980, the U.S. Olympic team in Lake Placid beat the Soviet Union, who was probably the greatest hockey team ever of all time. They beat them, a bunch of college kids. And the colloquial American dream, the underdog story of coming to America, starting something for yourself, and building yourself up. Rocky, the Mighty Ducks. This is a perpetual underdog narrative that will come into play with our predictions for some of these fights, two specifically. But let's start off now with the, I guess, main card opener. There isn't a preliminary card, just a main card, and that will be Diego Lopez versus Steve Garcia. I actually think that this is the main, yeah, this is the card opener. Mateo, who do you have in this fight and why?
I have Diego Lopez by probably slime out in the second round. I mean, I'm not really too impressed with Steve Garcia and what he's done. I mean, he is a killer, but I don't know, Diego Lopez is just different. I think
Yeah,
the level of competition, obviously, he's fought is also different.
that is something that I wanted to touch on as well. I think Diego Lopez, simply put, has fought higher levels of competition in that division. You look at the Volk fight. You look at he fought Evloev in his debut, I believe, correct? Yeah. You look at the John Silva fight as well. Lopez, it's interesting because Lopez, I see him as a scrapper. And I think if this fight becomes a scrap, I give it to Lopez by decision. That being said, Steve Garcia is someone who we've seen people have success against Steve Garcia on the ground, which means that there's a pathway towards maybe submission or ground and pound TKO for Lopez, right? Or at least being able to kind of just lay on him as well. But on top of that, I mean, Lopez has knocked down Volk and he's knocked out John Silva. Granted, I don't think Lopez is the guy who lands a punch and knocks you out automatically, kind of like Pereira level power or even Taporia level power. But he is a guy where if you're lunging in, like in the John Silva fight, if you're lunging in, with with explosivity, if he catches you, you're probably hitting the mat. So I think just based on pathways to victory, I'm going to go with Diego Lopez. I think, though, it's probably going to be a decision or a mid to late round TKO. I think the wrestling will will be a factor, but I don't think it'll be the story of this fight. And I think Steve Garcia's slimed out a bunch of guys before. I mean, he's got a lot of first round, second round finishes, early finishes. But I look at the guys he's finished, and I think to myself, like, Lopez would probably knock these guys out too, or he put it on these guys as well. Maybe Garcia has more power, but overall, I think Lopez is just kind of a more, I don't want to say well-rounded, but I think he's just a better fighter. He can dig deeper. He can get this win. So I'm going with Diego Lopez. Are you going with decision, knockout?
I went second round knockout,
Okay.
TKO by
Okay.
Lopez.
So yeah, kind of. Okay, yeah. So late, I'll go decision. I think this is going to be a scrap. I don't know if Lopez gets it done. I'll go decision, but you might make me look stupid. The model has this as only a 55% Lopez. The odds right now are minus
Really?
160 for Diego Lopez. I think there's value on that. But this is one of those fights where the freedom factor could take. This is Steve Garcia, American born, but he's not necessarily a massive underdog. He's not, this isn't Rocky versus Drago. There is a fight later on the card that kind of is, but I don't know if it takes in, because this is a very winnable, approachable matchup for Steve Garcia. And I think Steve Garcia is going to be he's going to be a contender in the featherweight division for a long time. I've heard Lopez is looking to move up to 155, which is interesting. But there's a possible changing of the guard scenario here where but I've heard people say that they think John Silva beats Lopez in a rematch. I actually don't. I think Lopez beats John Silva in a rematch. I think he beats him probably by decision instead of knockout. And if The other thing to take into account, I might be yapping too much about this fight, but the other thing to take into account is if that knockout didn't happen in the Gene Silva fight, it'd be a different fight, because I bet you Garcia is now looking at Lopez and saying, I better not lunge in like that. I better not really overcommit that, because he can catch me. So I think because of that, the pace of this fight's going to be a bit slower than expected. And I think it's going to kind of turn into a tit for tat, and then it's going to turn into a scrap as we get to the later rounds. It's going to kind of ramp up in that sense. It's not going to be a from the jump fight, in my opinion. And I think Lopez will probably, that's the only reason I'm kind of hesitant to say Lopez by finish, is because I don't know if he's going to be able to put on enough damage to really get it done. So I'm going to take him by decision. You're going to take him by finish. But we're going to move on to Bo Nickel versus Kyle Dawkins. I have Bo Nickel. The model has Bo Nickel at 74%. I think this is a Bo Nickel decision. I think Nickel's going to try to stand and bang. It's in front of the president. I think he's going to try to put on a show for the American people. He knows the narratives surrounding him about why is this guy still, on main cards left and right? Why are they promoting him so much? He understands that. He knows that. And I think for that reason, he's going to try to stand with Dawkins, but I think it's going to be one of those, it's going to be like Paul Craig. It's going to be a slow fight. Nickel's going to, it's going to be kind of a tit for tat. I think the wrestling will come into play maybe towards the back half of the second. I mean, I think he'll try to shoot a takedown early in the first. He'll get the takedown probably, but I think he also will try to stand. I don't think he's going to Chimaev Dawkins and run across the cage and take him down immediately. I could be wrong. I'd like to see him do that. As someone who's actually actively rooting for Bo Nickel, I really would like to see him do that and just wrestle fuck submit Dawkins in round one. And this is a US matchup, so no freedom factor here. But I think Nickel gets it done. But I'm kind of leaning decision almost, because I feel like with these fights, when it's something like this, there's so much pressure on people to perform, and I think it can kind of make you freeze up. Especially if you're not like a massive underdog or a massive favorite. I think Nickel, he is a big favorite in this matchup, but I think he's been a big favorite in every matchup, so I don't think the recipe changes for him. I think it's going to be a slow start. He'll probably try to stand up on the feet. We saw him get a leg kick or a head kick knockout in his last fight. So his stand-up is there, but so I think he'll stand up with him, and I think he'll try to get that takedown into mid-round one. And I'll go Nickel by decision. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't really have too much to add. I mean, Bo Nickel, he did, like you said, get that head kick KO in his most recent fight, but I don't know too much about Kyle Dawkins to really say that I'm going to pick him to win this fight. And I think the wrestling is there for Bo to just get maybe, I wouldn't say a very boring decision, but probably just 29-28. Maybe Kyle takes a round.
Mm-hmm.
But there's not. I just think Bo Nickel wins this by decision. Probably
the
boring.
The other thing with Nickel and why I'm hesitant to say finish is because this is a big spot to be in. He's also kind of had that fraud check already with Renier de Ritter in that fight, and he got embarrassed. And I think he's probably going to be very, not afraid, but aware of that narrative and what could happen. Because Kyle Dawkins isn't a pushover fighter. And I think he's going to be very hesitant to really make transit, unless he has, I don't see him having, maybe he does have the ultimate grappling advantage and he can do whatever the fuck he wants. But I think he could also be more hesitant to say pass guard, or initiate some sort of scramble where he could end up with a rear naked choke or an arm triangle. I think he's going to be more hesitant, more prone to just kind of laying in wait, winning rounds off of control and maybe ground and pound damage. If that's, so I'll take Nickel by decision, but I do see, I don't think he knocks out Dawkins. I could see him submitting him though. I really could. So we'll move on though to the next fight, which is Mauricio Huffy versus Michael Chandler. Actually, I think, is Derek Lewis versus Josh Hockett before this fight? Or is it after? It doesn't really matter. Mauricio Huffy versus Michael Chandler. This is one of the big fights where I want to point out the freedom factor. Because I think you and me would both agree, Michael Chandler is a 40-year-old man with 2 young, beautiful. What a beautiful family he has. Adopted sons. He has so much to lose. And I think he
Right.
really, really, really is at a stage in his career where he's got one or two more fights and he's going to ride off into the sunset. That being said, Huffy, on the other hand, is a guy where, I mean, he's got everything behind him. He just got a huge knockout over Rafael Fiziev. He beats Michael Chandler at the White House. He's looking at a contender matchup, right? I mean, Chandler's last fight was what? Was it Oliveira
Patty
where he took him
Pimblett?
5 rounds?
No,
Oh, it was
no,
Patty.
it's
You're
Patty
right.
Pimblett.
When he got absolutely demolished. Oh yeah. No, but I think Huffy. I'll tell you what. Chandler's explosive. Huffy is a great counterpuncher. Everything right now in my mind is telling me Mauricio Huffy's going to win this fight, and that's precisely why I think Chandler has a shot. I'm not crazy enough to take
Yeah.
Chandler to win this fight. I'm still going to take Huffy by second round KO. The freedom factor is going to give Chandler a
Mm.
round of survival, in my opinion. But I think round one might go to Chandler. I think he might low key win round one, and then Huffy slimes him out in round two. I really do. I think that could probably play out that way. I think Chandler's going to low key look good in the first 5 minutes of this fight. What do you think?
Um, I low key, like you said, I low key could see. I think Chandler could slime Ruffy out low key in the first round. I mean, Michael Chandler is pretty much like the greatest round one fighter ever. He does get clipped a lot. I will not lie,
That's
which is
yeah,
perfect for Ruffy. But like, I could just see him just somehow hitting like an overhand or just a right that maybe drops Ruffy, and he could somehow get a ground and pound TKO. But
right.
yeah, everything in my mind is telling me Ruffy will win this. But
I I
I,
I actually I almost want if this fight was taking place on like a fight night main event in the Apex or like a feature fight in Vegas, I would tell you Ruffy's going to win 100%. Bet the house on Huffy by KO. The fact that this is taking place in the White House, like I 100% see Michael Chandler picking up Mauricio Huffy by the ankles, fucking fireman carrying him across the octagon, pointing at Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu and whoever the leaders in this country are, and absolutely slamming Huffy into the ground. I do think that, and I low-key think that will happen. I think that will be how the fight starts. That'll probably be how round one ends, and everyone's going to be like, oh my God, Chandler's doing it. And then Huffy just slimes him out in round two. Brutal, lights out on the canvas. Chandler's son's turning the TV off, running to hug their. I think it's going to be bad.
oh
I think Chandler's
gosh,
going out cold in round two, but I do 1000% see your side. And it's tough because I think someone's getting knocked out. We can agree
yeah, there's
someone's
no
getting
one. This
knocked
cause
out.
decision. There's
And
no
I,
way.
I like, I'm still taking Huffy, but the more and more we talk about this fight, the more I do see that round one Chandler. Oh my God, he
Wait.
did it. But I think there's only going to be one of those crazy upsets this card, and that's going to be saved for later in the video. People probably know where I'm
Mm,
going later in the video.
oh gosh.
But do you have any more to say
Um,
about this fight?
I do. I think. I mean, maybe a cop out of an answer, but I think round one, if it does end in a finish, I think it's anybody. But
Right.
anything later on, I think Huffy just kills him.
Yes, I happen to agree with that as well. I don't see a world where Huffy puts it on Chandler for 2.5 rounds and then Chandler gets that shot. I think if Chandler lands a shot, it will be in round one, maybe early round two. I think he wins round. I do think Chandler wins round one. I think Huffy's a guy where like he plays the back foot really well, and I think just optics that's going to look good for Chandler if neither of those guys land any like significant punches, and if it's just like a advancing versus backing away type of round, I
Sad.
think I
Yeah.
think I think Chandler's going to win it. The model has this fight at 70% Mauricio Huffy, and the line is at minus 650, which is an implied
Damn.
probability of 87%, if my math's
Put like
correct.
five
It's
dollars
like
on
80, it's
Chandler
like
round one.
86.7. So there is some value on a Michael Chandler betting line, but not a. I mean, who knows? So, anyways, we're gonna
Yeah.
move on to the most recent announced fight for this card, which is Josh Hockett
My
versus
favorite
Derek Lewis.
fight.
The model has this at 62% Hockett. That's actually surprising to me. I am surprised at the lines as well because Hockett's a minus 360 favorite. I thought this would be closer. I'm going to take Hockett. I think this fight goes very similarly to the Curtis Blades fight. However, I think if this fight goes as similar to the Blades fight, that like too similar to it, Hockett's going to get hurt bad because Derek Lewis hits way harder than Curtis Blades. But I do think that it will be a scrappy, if it's a scrappy matchup where Lewis can't land clean or he can't like wind up that overhand, I think Hockett just kind of pieces him up, wins, maybe knocks Lewis down and gets like a TKO. I haven't seen much power from Josh Hockett. It's just a lot of volume. And I think that volume is going to prevent Derek Lewis from really winding up the KO blow, you know? Because Lewis isn't a guy where it's like he lands like an in-tight uppercut. He's got to wind up. He's got to really put some power into it. And he's slower because he's bigger. And I think Hockett's faster, younger, but power's the last thing to go. I'm going to take Hockett by late third round, maybe like I could see late second. I'm going to take him by TKO, late second, third round. Your thoughts?
I think Hockett will win this fight. Again, the one thing that scares me is Lewis. Eric Lewis, like he has the KO power, and that's what saved him in the Volkov fight where he was losing, about to be 3-0. And then for Volkov, whatever reason, he decides to trade with Derek Lewis and he gets clipped and he gets knocked out.
Right.
But I think Hockett, the pressure, maybe it's a wrestling. This is where we see Hockett's like actually try to wrestle.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Blades had a lot of wrestling, so that would have, no, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I think Hockett, again, Derek Lewis does have a really good uppercut. And that's what scares me again, is like, I think Hockett, everything says Hockett will win, but it's kind of like the Chandler thing. Like, he just has like that KO
Yeah, but
power.
this is another US versus US, so no freedom factor. See, this is my argument as to why I feel like certain guys are a bit more like there's a fire under their ass. I don't think there's a fire under Derek Lewis's ass right now. Lewis is in the same place as Chandler, where he's like, and sunset of his career, wants to go home to his wife. I think, and it's like when you look at what would make more sense right now for both guys in their career, I think a Josh Hockett post-fight press conference on the White House lawn makes a lot more sense than Derek Lewis taking his pants off on the White House lawn. So
I 100% agree.
In that sense, in like the kind of the non-fight aspect, right? Looking at like the personality, I think Hockett kind of, there's a war. Sometimes I look at fights and I look at what makes more sense to happen. Like I imagine the aftermath and not the fight. And anytime I imagine the aftermath of this fight, it's Josh Hockett spitting bars with Joe Rogan on the White House lawn, and nowhere in my mind is Derek Lewis streaking a part of it. So, I just think Hockett's going to win.
Yeah, I do agree. It also doesn't help that Derek Lewis's last fight where he just got hit with like a simple like just jab or like just straight right, and he just fell down and just gave up. So it is also that where Derek Lewis just gives up whenever the fight's tough.
Derek Lewis also got knocked out by Tai Tuivasa at one point in his career. So it's not like I really, really like Derek Lewis. I really, really like. He's one of my favorite fighters ever. But I just don't think this is his fight. I don't. So I'm going to take Josh Hockett, TKO. Are you the same, or do you think it's going to be a decision?
I think I have Josh Hockett by second round TKO. Yeah.
Okay. So Hockett. So we're both on Hockett TKO. All right. So we move on to the next fight, which is Sugar Sean O'Malley. Shout out Arizona. Tim Welch. Shout out Canelo. Vamos. Versus Amin Zahabi. I have Sean O'Malley. This is a y'all must have forgot performance for me. Sean O'Malley's been getting a lot of hate. I will be repping Sean O'Malley night of the fight, Arizona local. I'm wearing the shirt. I might go to MMA Lab. I might hit up the fellas. I don't know. Although he doesn't even. I think he's turned out a Red Hawk now. Anyways, semantics. Regardless, I'm taking Sean O'Malley. I'm going to take him by KO. I think he's going to knock out Zahabi. I do. And the thing that I like about this matchup a lot is we're going to live in a timeline where the United States has beaten Canada in the gold medal game of the Olympics for ice hockey and in an actual fist fight. So the pride of Canada right now is Eamon Zahabi. Kind of poetic when you think about it and their culture demographics right now. Anyways, I'm going to take Sean O'Malley second round KO, maybe first. I don't see a world where Zahabi really gives Sean that much. I mean, Sean O'Malley is a champion. The only real losses that Sean O'Malley has, only real loss that Sean O'Malley has is that second Marab fight. Because there is a 1-3-5 argument for Marab
All
O'Malley
right,
round one.
bro.
He could still be
Yeah, yeah.
champion right now if we didn't have biased Mexican judges rooting for the Mexican Marab Dvalishvili. Because if you remember to the Sphere at UFC Noche, Marab really adopted the Mexican heritage that he is 0% Mexicano, but he adopted that heritage. And I think he used it to win. That second fight, my fella O'Malley, my boy, my brother, he just stuck his head in a guillotine. It was or in a submission. He did it out of kindness, out of nicety, because he knew that Petr Yan wanted to get that belt back. So I really like O'Malley in this fight. I am an O'Malley stan. You know this. I'm taking Sean O'Malley
Yeah.
first or second round KO. Your thoughts?
I mean, I have the same. I mean, Eamon Zahabi hasn't really done too much except go to a split decision with Marlon Vera, who's a corpse, and who O'Malley just dismantled over 5 rounds
Right.
when they faced the second time. So, I mean, I really don't. I'm not impressed with Zahabi, and
I'm
there's
not
not really
impressed by
much
your
to.
performance. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I was legit gonna say that, but yeah.
Yeah. The model has this at O'Malley 72% last time I checked. Yes, 72%. Line is minus 400, which is no
Damn.
value at all. That's like an implied
Uh-huh.
probability of like 80. I can't do math. That's what? Eight. I'm trying to do it in my head. I think it's 80% even. It is 80% even. I'm so smart. Wow. So, anyways, O'Malley KO. Moving on to the co-main event, which is probably the most interesting fight on this entire card. Alex Pereira
Yeah.
versus Cyril Gahn. I'm taking Alex Pereira. And I have a hot take. I want to know what your thoughts, but I haven't told you this take yet. I think Alex
Mm,
Pereira wrestles Cyril Gahn and he wins by
really?
submission. Yes. I think Glover Teixeira is watching Cyril Gahn, like watching tape, and he is licking his lips. If this was Glover Teixeira versus Cyril Gahn, I guarantee you Glover is sprinting across the cage, Hamzat Chimaev on a double leg immediately. And I think I'm not crazy enough to say that like Pereira turns into John Jones and guillotines him in 37 seconds or some bullshit. I do think though that Alex Pereira is going to stand up with him. It's going to be kind of a tit for tat, elite, high level kickboxing. I mean, I saw this tweet and I'm looking at the records. Believe it or not, Alex Pereira has more MMA experience than Cyril Gahn. One more fight. It was a loss, but he does have one more fight. So somehow we live in a world now where Alex Pereira has more MMA experience than his opponent. That's insane. I mean, Pereira's done incredible things in the short time he's been. I feel like he came into the UFC like last year. It's crazy. I also think that this man, Alex Pereira, is a different level of generational talent. I really do believe he's going to be the first triple champion. I think he's going to beat Cyril Gahn, and I think he's going to submit him. I don't know what it is. I think he will. Everyone's going to call me crazy, but when he shoots that takedown at the 3.5 minute mark of round one, I want you to remember this Smugglers MMA video that told you this is what's going to happen. Because Glover Teixeira, I'm watching dude, I watch Alex Pereira like hitting the mitts or hitting pads on Twitter. And I'm like, dude, this guy looks like ass. He looks fat. He looks slow. I'm like, where is that weight going? It's going to his ass. It's going all to his ass. Do you know what that means he's training? He's training explosivity. He's training his takedowns. He's training getting low on a double leg, lifting Cyril Gahn's big French ass up and slamming him. That's what he's training. That's what we're going. Alex Pereira, round one submission. He does it just like John
Round one.
Jones. He does it just like John. It's going to take him more time. It's going to be a rear naked choke. but he's going to sub him in round one. If it's in all seriousness, if it's a stand-up fight, I still have him by knockout. It's going to be tricky. Pereira's got, in my opinion, if you look at their kickboxing careers, Pereira is, I mean, far superior than Cyril Gane's French Muay Thai career. Pereira was a 2-division glory champion. Gane was a 1-division French champion. French Muay Thai. I'm not sure how good Muay Thai is in France. I can only speak for America and Thailand. But if the comparison is anything like Thailand to America, yikes, I'll tell you that. Cyril Gane, so I think just on a kickboxing level, pure kickboxing, Pereira hasn't beat, and I think that's the thing that matters. I do think, though, that there is a huge, huge skill gap in the wrestling department. Watch the Jan Blachowicz fight for Pereira and watch the way that he was able to, like, it doesn't look good because Blachowicz is, like, on top of him, laying on him. But look at his positioning on takedowns. Look at the Ankalaev fight 1 where he stuffed 11 takedowns. Pereira has grappling instincts. He's never used them in a fight, but he has grappling instincts. I know he got taken down by Izzy early in his career. I really do think, though, that Glover Teixeira is, and Pereira's team is looking at Cyril Gane and saying, we can get a single leg. Pereira's not Glover, but we can get a single leg. We can get him down, and we can lay on him. We can lay on him. We can make Cyril Gane uncomfortable. We can make him worry about the takedown. That's going to open up shots up top. That's going to open up a lot of things on the feet as well. I think Pereira could submit Gane in the ground game as well. I do. Pereira's what? He's a black belt. He's the only person to ever get a black belt by knocking people out, but he's still a jiu-jitsu black belt, guys. Come on. Cyril Gane's like probably a white belt. I'm not going to lie. So I've got Pereira. Who do you have? What are your thoughts? I've spoken a lot.
Oh, I probably have Pereira, 4th round TKO, maybe 5th
Really?
round. I could see Gane like winning the first 2, or maybe like 1 and 3, maybe. And then like I just think he does. I think Pereira does him like Izzy. I think low kicks, maybe Pereira just checks them, and Gane is just like hurt, and then he just catches him against the fence, and that's it. I don't.
Yeah. So you
I
think
am
more of a
worried about the eye
traditional?
pokes.
Yeah, he might wear
Yes, I do
goggles.
not think.
This is another reason why I think this takedown's coming fast. This is another is I do think his team is worried about eye pokes. Hold up, my microphone just changed on me. Are we back? Okay, we're back. I do think his team is worried about eye pokes. And I think that's another reason why they're going to want to get it to the ground early. And I don't seriously think he's going to submit him, but I do think that they're going to try to get this fight to the ground early because that's going to open up so much. If Gane has to think about the takedown and the striking, that's a lot, especially considering how high level of a striker Pereira is. And I watch some of these, I watch him sparring Taliesin Teixeira, and I see Teixeira landing some shots on him. Big guy, longer reach, kind of similar
Did
frame.
just get knocked out.
He did just get knocked out, but I think everyone's kind of watching those videos thinking, wow, Pereira doesn't really look that good for heavyweight. And I think his team's doing that on purpose. I think they're putting this out. I think Cyril Gane right now has this, Cyril Gane, like, I think he has borderline narcissist personality disorder. Like, he's so full of himself. You can't understand it because he speaks French, but to the people who do speak French, myself not included, but I know that he has a big fucking head. He really, really thinks highly of himself. He thinks he's going to come into this fight and he's going to kickbox Alex Pereira. And I think Pereira is going to surprise him. He's going to surprise the shit out of him. And I think he's going to win this fight. So the model has this at 46% Alex, 50% or 54% Cyril Gane. So
Really?
the betting lines are pretty even. I think there's a lot of value on Pereira. I think if you want to go crazy, there is value on, like, if you can bet like prop bets on like Pereira takedown, I think there's a ton of value on that. I really, really do. I think he's going to shoot.
I think you
I think
could
he
do
should
maybe
shoot.
Gane with a takedown with maybe a terrible submission attempt from a fucking heel.
No way. I watched the Francis fight as well, and I think to myself, Francis never once thought about shooting until he fought Cyril Gane, because Cyril Gane is like so there to get taken down. And Aspinall would have gotten a takedown if that first eye poke wasn't a thing, right? But Gane was ready for it, so he was ready to extend the eyes nails forward. He keeps those fingernails long like the little slime bag Frenchman he is. But I think Pereira's going to win. I fucking hope Pereira wins. I do not like Cyril Gahn. I don't. I'll be transparent. I'll be honest. No point in lying here. I don't like Cyril Gahn at all. So I hope Pereira wins. I like Pereira a lot. I'm going to take Pereira. Fuck it. I'm taking Pereira by sub. Just because I'll be the one person who called it. Just because and we don't have a big enough, frankly, this YouTube channel doesn't have a big enough fan base for me to get a lot of hate. So Pereira by sub it is.
No, fair enough, yeah.
There's no downside. If he doesn't win by
No.
sub, there's no one to hate. If he does win by sub,
You know what?
anyone who watches this video says, holy cow, he was right. He was right. And then
You
they
know
sub
what?
because I'm right.
Colin, you have inspired me. I'm taking Cyril Gahn by 4th round TKO. Okay.
Why?
Maybe
Just to spite
decision.
me?
You know what? Yes. We're gonna do
Oh,
two outlandish things.
God.
We're just gonna do
The
Gone by
thing is
boring decision.
your take's not even outlandish. It's just kind of it's Gahn wins the fight. Like the takes right now are
Yeah.
Pereira wins by decision or knockout or Gahn wins by decision or knockout. I'm getting, frisky up. I'm saying submission. No one's even talking about the grappling exchanges. Anyway, I'm not letting you
Fair
do
enough.
that. You
Fair
have
enough.
Pereira by what? Knockout?
Yeah, it's a 4th round.
Okay. All right. Moving on to the main event of this card and the fight that I wanted to talk about when I added the
Ilya's gonna
Freedom
kill this
Factor
man.
slide at the beginning of this PowerPoint. Rocky versus Drago, Justin Gaethje versus Ilia Topuria. I was strongly rooting for Gaethje. Gaethje's not 19-1. What is this record we have up here?
Oh shit.
It's all good. It's all good.
God.
Move on. The model has this
27
at
and
his
5.
27-5. Thank you. The model has this as 62% Ilia Topuria. 62% Ilia Topuria, 38% Justin Gaethje. The betting odds are minus 600 Topuria. That's an implied probability of 85%. I think they're actually like total transparency. There's value on Gaethje. Everyone knows it, but nobody really thinks Gaethje's going to win. Okay. I was
No.
super on the Justin Gaethje train until he got in a Twitter beef with my boy Sean Strickland. Okay. That being said, this is still UFC Freedom 250 in America. And when you think about all the ESPN 30 for 30s in history, what do you think about? You think about Buster Douglas knocking out Mike Tyson. You think about the Miracle on Ice, right? I played hockey, so I don't even, this isn't 30 for 30, but I think about the Mighty Ducks. I think about these underdog stories and what that means to the fabric of American society, right? American sports is an underdog story in itself. That the whole story of American sports is underdog stories. And for that reason, I'm taking Justin Gaethje by 3rd round knockout. I can't believe I'm saying it, but I think it's going to happen. It's an unprecedented event. It's on the White House. Ilya's already put 18-0 in his bio. He's got the rose next to the photo. Nobody thinks Gaethje's going to win this fight. You look at the edits, it's like Topuria, she took the kids Justin with the hum-ba-da-da, like the intense TikTok music. You look at the Gaethje edits, it's like Katy Perry, Hot and Cold. It's a joke. No one has any faith in Justin Gaethje. But you know what, Justin? I have faith. I'm taking Justin Gaethje, Arizona native, knockout in the 3rd round on the White House lawn. Trump makes him Secretary of Defense. It's now the Secretary of War, but he makes him the Secretary of Defense right then in that second. Dana White loses his shit because holy cow, Justin Gaethje is an old fuck who's going to retire with the belt. But I see it happening. I know you're going to pick Topuria. I just wanted to get it out of the way. I'm taking Justin Gaethje.
Ilya's gonna kill this guy.
If anyone's going to do it, it's going to be Gaethje. It's not going to be Sarukian because people actually think Sarukian's going to do it. People
no.
are crazy enough to actually think Patty's got a chance against Topuria.
Patty would
Nobody,
die.
I'm telling you, bro, nobody thinks Justin Gaethje can do it, and that's exactly why he's going to do it. So that's my pick.
This
That's my pick.
this might be the hottest take, but I do think you're somewhat right. With Gaethje somehow has the best chance, even though this guy is on his last fight. And
Exactly.
I think the only other one that has a better shot is Charles, because Charles never lost a rematch, but I do think Gaethje does have 1 inch reach. He does have the uppercut. Ilya is there to be hit, but
Hey,
I think Ilya
Max
might kill
Max
this guy.
did Max did tag up Ilya. Like that is,
Max
we do have
doesn't
to
have
say
any
it.
power though.
Max,
Yeah,
you're
that's
right.
true.
Max doesn't have the power that other people have. Even in that Gaethje knockout, it was like he pieced him up for 5 rounds. They pointed at the ground, and it was like hands down. I also think
Right.
that this is what I'm saying. Think about the ESPN 30 for 30. You talk about Gaethje's UFC 300 moment out cold. You talk about the fact that he had the interim belt, lost against Khabib. He's a 2-time interim champ. Kind of the end of his career. Nobody really thought he could do it. You know, gets submitted by Charles in a minute, right? Like everyone's thinking there's just no way. This
The
new guy
round.
Taporia knocked out Charles, knocked out Holloway, who both beat Gaethje, right?
Right.
For fuck's sake, he's like a minus 600 favorite, Taporia. This is it.
Right.
I'm so in my head convinced. I'm so delusional. I think Gaethje's gonna do it, but
I
I don't.
think
I think I might
I
be
think
alone.
I think I think this is where order gets restored. Obviously, we've had Sean Strickland, it was a bit more
Hold
different
on.
because
Are you gonna tell me that Sean Strickland is a fluke champion right now?
no, I'm not saying that,
Okay,
no.
I was just
But
making sure.
we have had a few like quote unquote flukes of what people want to say. Like you're getting knocked out by Olberg in round one when Olberg has no leg.
I
Like
don't. I'll tell you
I
what.
think this is where order gets restored
I actually
and
don't even think
Ilya
that was a.
kills
All
Gaethje.
right, all right, fine, fine. You can have your take. Listen, I'm in my. We're filming this on my lunch break. I have no AC on in my car in Arizona in the middle of June. I'm sweating buckets, so we're gonna have to end this
You're
video.
dying right now.
I'm actually overheating. It's really bad because I'm yelling too. I'm like getting emotional. I have these high IQ takes which are taking up brain power. It's burning calories. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy content like this, please make sure to like, comment, sub. Check out our TikTok. Check out our Twitter. Please, please, please. We cannot thank you enough if you made it this far into the video. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching.